Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, LuckyEevee, Mathmachine, Stryker, Jordan, and our newest co-host, Shark. Today is our 65th episode, and we're discussing the 1996 Blazing Dragons episode, Knights and Knightresses. So, let's get things started.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, Blazing Dragons was created by Terry Jones of Monty Python fame, and it basically has a pretty ingenious premise behind it. It's basically a subversion of Middle Ages stories where a kingdom of dragons deal against evil knights. And it actually was, despite being a kind of small franchise, it did manage to have a tie-in video game at the same time. But there's an interesting little twist to it, in that the video game is completely different from the actual show, and that the dragons all have different designs, different voices, and it's a little bit of a different sort of aesthetic. But despite that, it's a lot of fun in its own right, and we're going to get to it in time, so be sure to look out for it when we do that. But
I'm certainly going to be hyped for it.
Same here.
But yeah, this show was produced by Nelvana, and knowing it's from them, it has very, very good animation right off the bat. There's not even any real errors I noticed, which is really good, especially again for this time period, late '90s and that, or mid '90s.
I mean, this is the same group that helped dub and release Bakugan, so that's got to mean something.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Nelvana, for those of you that forget, are very well known in the animation industry for doing high quality animations. I mean, you could absolutely see that with the Care Bears movie.
Yeah, that's or Rock and Roll, a much better example of that. If you want something a little bit more adult from them,
they're especially known for their holiday specials from the 70s and 80s.
Right.
They're also well known for Eek the Cat.
Oh, nice. It's really cool. But yeah,
that's
the base.
Great origin.
That too. But yeah, this show basically, I guess the best way to describe it for those of you listening that have no idea what it is, it's basically a prototype of Dave the Barbarian. It shares so much of the same style of humor as the latter show, and it is really, really funny. And if Dave the Barbarian was ahead of its time, this is like years ahead of its time. Like, you could release this show now, I feel, on Cartoon Network, maybe with a couple little tweaks in that, but you could release this show now, and I feel it would do really, really well, because I feel like now it would tap into the zeitgeist more than it would when this came out. But with that being said, it's a really, really funny cartoon. It blew me away. I thought this was just going to be like a mediocre, mid-90s cartoon, but I laughed really hard at a lot of points when I was watching this for the notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's basically the best term to describe this: pleasant surprise.
Yep. And an interesting fact about the show, before we begin talking about the episode, it actually was somewhat censored in the United States because there's a character in this called Sir Blaze, and the original version was a little bit more, how shall I put it?
Super.
Yes, that would be the perfect way of putting it. Thank you. Yes, they toned him down a little bit when they aired this in the United States, but international broadcast kept him as he is, and that's the version that they can find online now. So thankfully, there's no censorship for this one, and we're glad to see it. So, of course, the show begins with the theme song, which is very funny, and it manages to summarize the plot in a very short amount of time. And like I said, it really shows almost like Dave the Barbarian, and I promise I'm not going to keep making comparisons with it every single 2 seconds. But it really does kind of remind me of that, and that the theme song is basically saying, we know it's a goof, you know it's a goof, just sit back, relax, and have fun.
On your fucking brain, people.
That too.
The only issue I have with the theme song is that it goes quick. You need to either be paying really close attention or watch it probably 2-3 times to fully understand everything they're saying in it. But you do get the general gist, even the first time.
Thank goodness it's not as fast.
In a very short time, so
Yeah. Thank goodness it's not as fast paced as like Biker Mice from Mars. So
no. At least this has lyrics. Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does have legs. But the episode that we're talking about, Knights and Knightresses, begins with a bard that sings the basic plot of the episode to us. And for those of you listening in, this is the third week in a row where we're talking about something with a medieval setting. Thankfully, next week we're taking a little bit of a break from it, but we'll get to that when it comes.
Yep.
So we then cut to the
we're-
castle where we.
We're gonna dragons to show up mostly the time.
Yeah. You should expect that because, like Shark said, that's where most of the dragonesses are going to appear in.
Yeah.
So the episode itself begins with the castle where we see Princess Flame attempt her poise test, while her mother, Queen Griddle, berates her for not doing it properly and thus won't get any suitors. And Queen Griddle is voiced by what is clearly a man doing a really bad falsetto in a Monty Python tradition, and it's funny, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Also, but
Oh,
was
the red guy
normal
from
around
Cow
this
and
time.
Chicken.
That too.
it also reminds me of that girdle scene from Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't breathe.
Yeah, I can definitely see why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was normal around this time in cartoons for men to play as certain female characters.
Yeah,
third
that's
time
true.
in
That's
life.
true too. And something also to consider with it, but yeah, of course, right off the bat, we get to see our Dragoness of the episode, Princess Flame, and she has a very, very nice design here. I like the green scales, and the hair is a very nice touch, and her outfit reminds me of Maid Marian from Robin Hood. I think it might be the pink headdress. Of
Yeah.
that,
Kind of
think
looks
so.
like that. She does.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he very much reminds me of Maid Marian, hands down.
I did read that they did change the character designs in season 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we are going to
Yeah,
get to
we'll
that.
get to
That will
that.
be an episode in a couple of weeks, but yeah, they changed the design. Season 2 is pretty much a retool, which after seeing this, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. But again, we'll get to that when we get to that. And back to this episode.
Right.
Princess Flame's voice actress, fun fact, she was Sailor Venus on the Deke dubs of Sailor Moon. So that's a pretty neat connection there.
Good cheap.
Yeah,
Oh, good shit.
Thankfully not here.
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't.
All she needs a magical dragon transformation.
Oh, if
Yeah,
only, if
only.
only.
If
Yeah.
only, like, she goes off the set as Sailor Venus, then she looks around and just, huzzah! It's
And transforms into
Princess Flame.
Princess Flame. Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
that would be perfect. That would be
that'd be
absolutely perfect.
awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yep. So Flame makes a remark that she won't win any suitors if her head is flatter than the world. Then she causes a table that looks like the world to become a globe and ponders over it in a pretty cute throwaway joke that does come back
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Yep. Queen Griddle goes over the basics of princessing with Flame, which include being a damsel and how to use her feminine wiles to manipulate knights. Princess
Bruh.
Flame is dismayed over this, and she wants more out of life than just to be the daughter of the king. And there's a really funny visual gag with a chalkboard for her having stuff like a feminine brain on there and like a stick figure of like a human princess and that. Like I say, this show is one of those shows that has like 20 jokes in the span of 2 seconds. So if you don't like one, another one is right around the corner that's probably going to really tickle you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when there are like jokes in the background too.
Yeah, that's always good. Like anytime a cartoon does that, like actually like subtle jokes like that, I'm sold. You know.
The speed of the humor
absolutely.
is absolutely modern Zoomer, Rick and Morty, just joke after joke after joke style. Except these ones actually take a couple seconds in between to give you some breathing room rather than constantly hitting you with it.
Oh yeah, no, you got to have some kind of breathing room. Like to have it like joke, it would be it'd become tedious.
Yep,
Thankfully,
so-
they do
They
unique
do-
stuff with it.
They knew to space out some of the funnier
Yeah.
moments.
And it works out for the better that way. So Flame chooses not to be a princess any longer, while her mother is too busy looking at a centerfold in a magazine.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
just
then cut-
magazine.
Yep. And then we cut to the Knights at the Square table as King Allfire gives out the daily assignments. Sir Blaze enters and rants about not being able to find good clothing to his other knights. And the king tells Sir Blaze that a monster had eaten his cousin, which enrages him. There's another really good joke where the king mentions about a green giant refusing to leave a bridge before Sir Loungelot mentions, "Oh, that's my." Sir Loungelot mentions, "Oh, that's my legend." That they actually have to divide it up and which quests they will go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Princess Flame enters and she claims that she's bored with her life and wants to become a knight. And the other dragons, of course, all laugh at her before Loungelot gets Flicker to come over and read from a giant book. The book says that all knights must be of the little boy persuasion. Their wording, not mine. And there's a really good joke with.
I was expecting that it was gonna be like in The Simpsons when Marge wants to be a cop, where Wiggum and the others start laughing, and then welcome to the team.
Yeah, if only it was like that. But what we get is good too. There's another really good joke with the knights all claiming she can't do it for various reasons when they all are doing the exact same things that they say that a real knight wouldn't be able to do. It's one of those classic, gags.
In case you haven't figured yet, this is your typical late 90s, early 2000s, anything you can do, I can do better, boy v girl episode.
I can do anything better than you.
Nice. But yeah, unlike a lot of those, though, I feel like this one, it's not as annoying as some of those are, to be honest. I don't know, maybe it's the sense of humor about this show, but it's a cliched storyline, but you don't really feel it.
Yeah, because of the comedic take, this worked a lot better than a lot of those other effectively PSA light episodes.
True.
Also dragons. That
is another big point.
Hide the ham-fisted method with the humor.
Exactly, that's a very good way to look at it, too. So what happens is that Princess Flame storms off, and she plans on starting the Knightresses of the more functional round table, while the other males all laugh at her. And we then cut to another gloomier castle as the group of evil humans led by Count Jeffery plan on invading the dragon's castle by digging a tunnel to it. In a little running gag, Jeffrey keeps claiming that it's the chunnel, which, pretty cute reference there. And the knights all jump into the tunnel, only to be jumped right out and be chased by a bunch of Vikings. And this sets up a really funny running gag that becomes a little bit more later on. And every time it happened, just with the escalating more and more, it just got funnier every time.
Yeah.
It did, and I loved it every second.
Definitely. It's like one of those things where, you think it's going to be a one-off, but then, of course, we'll get to it. But when they bring it back, and they keep bringing it back, it just somehow clicks every single time. Yep.
Yeah.
But we then cut back to Camelhot, which is where all the dragons live, where no one has responded to Princess Flame's offer. Sir Flicker offers her to teach her how to use weapons, but she wants to do her own way without using weapons. Flicker then wonders if there's a way he could help, and Princess Flame comes up with an idea. And it's here where we cut to Flicker, now dressed as a female, as Flame claims she is Sir Dolores, which I guess is a little bit like the SpongeBob episode where Patrick became Patricia.
Oh, there's always a plot like this in a lot of
every single cartoon, I feel.
From the 90s.
Yeah, or 90s and 2000s.
That is always that one character that cross-dresses, and then there's the joke that's coming up.
Yeah.
There's also a fun. Honestly, hearing Sir Dolores reminds me of Dolores from that one Donald Duck short.
Huh. I can kind of see that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Of course, Flicker is then forced to use a higher voice as Flame claims they will do things better than the knights ever could. As they walk out of the room, they bump into Loungelot, who falls in love with Sir Dolores. Loungelot gives Flickers, and it's here where we get, again, a cliche storyline, but there's something about the execution of the show that just works out so well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's honestly funny just seeing Loungelot pretty much get freaking like...
There's something about the way they do this cliche joke that just works better than a lot of cartoons.
A lot of them, yeah.
The pacing, the execution, the setup, honestly.
It's all so good. It really, really is.
Usually, this kind of joke will be the focus of the episode, but here is just one of the jokes, not the main joke.
Exactly.
And real quick,
Matt, you were saying?
I need to describe the character of Sir Loungelot a little bit, because this is one of those things that I did not realize initially, and I was so upset and actually really impressed with the humor of the show once I did. So Sir Lounge-a-Lot has that typical 50s or 60s style mini pompadour hairstyle,
Yeah.
the cheesy mustache. He speaks in sort of that I am so smart, but I'm actually an idiot kind of way.
Holier than thou art, but
And
actually a dumbass. More
he
specifically.
tried to be a schmoozer and a Casanova. It took me forever to realize, because initially I thought his name was, oh, okay, because he's a big, fat, round guy, hence lounge a lot. No, he, as a dragon, is a lounge lizard.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
Honestly, that checks out. And it
That
actually,
meta
fun
joke
fact.
is so cheesy. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
another
way
interesting
they-
fact.
another joke that just lands much better here.
Oh yeah. Also, he would the lounge a lot would basically be the next. There would be another version of lounge a lot in the game called Lancelot, I believe.
Oh,
Which-
interesting. Wonder if they're
Yeah.
the same character or if they're somewhat different.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways,
Getting back to this, but yeah, like I say, there's a great moment where Sir Loungelot says that that there's enough of me to go around, and Flame retorts under her breath a few times. Flicker throws the flowers back in Loungelot's face as they leave, and Loungelot's still in love with her. It's here where we cut back to the gloomy castle as the humans enter the chunnel yet again, only this time to be chased and trampled by a bunch of Roman legionnaires riding in chariots. And it's at that point when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a doozy.
Yeah. And the Middle Ages and a bunch of random Roman legionnaires just show up and just attack the humans.
Yeah.
Like I say, and they actually do make this a plot point. I give them credit. They actually find a way to take a one-off gag and make it some kind of a plot point. But for now, we then cut back to Flame and Flicker as the latter claims he doesn't like to have to dress up as a woman, but Flame says that's how it's to be a woman all the time. We hear a high-pitched squealing as Flame thinks that Flicker is doing it. It turns out to be the local damsels in distress, who are human princesses and not a dragon princess like Flame. And they all sound like a car alarm, you know?
Beep, pew, pew,
Exactly.
pew, pew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So what happens basically is that Flame and Flicker berate them for being so helpless, as Flame says that they should try to save themselves. The fact that she says this while she's trying to save them is a pretty cute, understated joke.
Yeah, it also kind of reminds me of that one moment from freaking Tatsumaki's origin from One Punch Man, where like a superhero saves her, but he's like, "You should really start saving yourself a little more."
Yeah, exactly. It definitely reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So then, Flame and Flicker tells the damsels to create a strong sisterhood against the feudalism of the day, and Flicker then coins the Damsel in Distress Union, or the Did You. Flame, turns out, has already made picket signs and distribute them to all the damsels.
Did you?
Exactly, and it's here we get another great joke.
The thing about it is, I like how they find the princesses. Like, you will find a coin in the park. Like, that universe is so common for the whole princess thing that you just walk around and there's a princess in distress over there.
I know, it works out really well. It really, really does.
It's funny.
It very much is. Very much
funny.
is. Yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
classic. So the knights then show up as the damsels are protesting against them, with them not knowing what "did you" means. And then there's a pretty good adult joke that is a running one, where Sir Flame says the acronym reminds him of the one SOB, son of a Briton. They use this joke several times throughout the show, and it's another running gag that really, really works out well.
What sells it is that whenever they say it, everyone else in the room gasps.
Yeah, like
In
what the
unison, it's just like,
okay.
how dare you?
Yeah, it's like what the
It's a
fuck, bro?
kid's
And it's
show.
like, oh, it's this. Oh, okay. Oh, thank God.
Oh, okay.
Classic,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So Lounge-a-Lot then continues to hit on Sir Dolores, but Flicker is increasingly uncomfortable with it. A gust of wind blows his wig off as he slams Lounge-a-Lot's helmet on him, then claims that the Green Knight asked her out first. Lounge-a-Lot stumbles off, determined to fight the Green Knight, and Princess Flame claims that if they do a job well done and they go off to do more good deeds, the knights say that it could ruin their image, and they say, "Long live knighthood, in honor of King Allfire, her SOB."
I'm a Briton.
Yep.
Son of a Britain.
God, I love that joke. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's
Oh,
classic. It's classic.
Yeah. They use it at the right time.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they absolutely do.
No, definitely. And then
Awesome.
we cut back to Sir Jeffery, who is wearing a lot of cast due to being trampled repeatedly. He's waiting outside the town to get to Camelot, but this time a bunch of water buffalo and Native Americans storm out of the tunnel and trample him. Yeah,
Oh man.
classic.
It works
We then
because you know something's coming up, but you don't know what until you see how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, and again, it's the escalation of it. It's like if they just had it being Vikings and that, it would have been a cute gag. But the fact that they just keep bringing it back again and again and again, and it's like when you least expect it, it really does work out.
It does very much.
Yep.
It does, yes. It just works. It just works. Little lies. Wait.
Nice.
Oh man.
Yeah. So we cut to Flame standing in the human village as a bunch of villagers beg her for money due to Sir Jeffery's reckless spending. And this just shows how clever the show is. Flame decides to have them all be declared as a family with dependents, and so their deductions will be higher than their taxes, and Sir Jeffery gets nothing. And like I say, it really is such sharp writing like that, you know? It's
Yeah, suck it, Jeffrey.
almost like Jay Ward level cleverness here.
Yeah, it's almost like, dare we say it, Dave the Barbarian.
Yeah, as we've mentioned before.
If only it could, and yet if its brain weren't the size of a blueberry.
Yep.
I do think that this is somewhat understated, but this shows just how impressive and how good their understanding of humor and the way to make stuff funny works. They made a tax/accounting joke work.
They
did.
freaking really stuck on that IRS or whatever the British version of it would be.
Surfism in this time, but yeah.
The Czech joke from the Barbarian, where they pass it around and they be like, how did that clear everyone's debt?
Yeah, in a way, it does kind of remind you of that.
Daggers.
Yeah. So what happens is Lounge-a-Lot then appears again. He hits on Dolores over claiming that she looks familiar. Flicker saves himself from being exposed by claiming he says that to all the girls before asking once again for the Green Knight, causing Lounge-a-Lot to run off to find her. And the other knights are all upset because they were shown up yet again. There's another good gag with Sir Blaze claiming that I hate when people show off, while he's also busy making a topiary statue with his sword.
Yeah.
It's one of those like clever gags. And of course, Sir Blaze plans on getting the monster that allegedly attacked his cousin, but Princess Flame ended up easily dealing with it off screen. She ended up declaring the monster an endangered species and gave it a parcel of land. Then cut to the monster, which is like some kind of a giant pig with her offspring, which, kind of weird.
Very
but
cute.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
cute,
given how much questing all the knights do and whatnot, it would make sense that freaking there'll be a lot of freaking endangered species in the Blazing Dragons universe.
Definitely did. Yeah. So the knights wonder how she got the land, but it turns out she took it from their retirement packages. And Lounge-a-Lot shows up yet again, and he's not upset at this. He's still hitting on Flicker. He attempts to give Flicker a bouquet of roses that in a cute gag are just literally ripped up from the ground with grass and soil all around it. And she distracts him once again with the Green Knight. And once again, Lounge-a-Lot runs after the Green Knight while letting off another rant. And then the running gags continue because we then cut back to Sir Jeffery's castle and we see the humans being chased out yet again, this time by a group of Chinese warriors, which...
Or Japanese, honestly. It's Asian.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
So
but honestly, that one got me the most. Because
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yep. We then cut back to the square table as the knights all rant about the changes that Flame has made, which include granting the Lady of the Lake a 900-year lease, teaching things that not even the most educated of the knights could understand, and this is the real funny part, Sir Blaze is extremely upset that he wasn't able to consult on the Did You girls' outfits.
Oh no.
Hobbies.
Yeah, it's just...
You got hobbies, I got mine.
Yeah,
yeah.
classic.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Loungelot is too distracted with Sir Dolores to really care. And all the knights claim they are taking early retirement to the king's horror. And we then cut back to Sir Jeffery as we get probably the culmination of the running gag. What comes out of the chunnel this time are Russian dancing bears. Whether one of them is Zazie back for revenge, we will not know. But still, it's just like something that it's like a perfect capstone to the gag. It's like, what's the most ridiculous thing that could they have come out of the tunnel that all the knights would run away from screaming? And they just think Russian dancing bears. And when you say it like this, it doesn't sound funny, but when you actually watch it, there's something about the escalation of it. It really is just so funny.
Yeah, that is something that
as if it's
will also happen in Dave the Barbarian.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's exactly like Dave the Barbarian. Hands down.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. So the king tells Princess Flame that the knights of the square table have all retired, and Princess Flame is particularly dismayed at the news. She says that this wouldn't have happened if she had been able to join the square table in the first place. And then it's here where, what was previously just a wacky running gag is now linked with the main plot of the episode, because the humans all appear from the chunnel, and they're chased by all the other people and / Russian dancing bears they encountered in there, and they're just running around in the background screaming. And we even bring back the running gag of it being a chunnel because Sir Jeffery stops to berate Flicker and Flame for saying it wrong before he continues to run around.
Yeah.
But it turns out that the Russian dancing bears ended up capturing Flicker, as told by the wandering bard. We then get another pretty funny gag where Princess Flame tries telling the king that Flicker has been kidnapped, and he doesn't know who that is. But when she says Sir Dolores has been kidnapped, he is absolutely horrified at the implications.
Yep, definitely some freaking motivation.
Yeah, but of course, Flame, it turns out, cannot go out alone, and she needs to get back to the other knights. We see a cute montage of her going to all of their other jobs and literally pulling them away from it. There's a really good gag where it turns out the Lady of the Lake lives by a beach resort, and one of the knights is a lifeguard there.
Yeah.
And it's here like Matt said about the whole lounge lizard joke, which again, really, really clever, especially if that was like an intentional, well, it probably wasn't an intentional one, but that just shows how really, really clever the writing of this is.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we can see Sir Langelot basically in a bar, he fantasizes about Sir Dolores with her having a much more different and appealing design rather than what she really looks like, which is, of course, Flicker in a dress.
Yeah, it's just a guy in a dress, and yet, honestly, he looks a lot more convincing.
Yeah.
Reality.
Yep. So Flame arrives, and she wonders what Loungelot is doing there if he is retired. And he gives a big noble speech about never leaving the king's side. And then he says the real reason, which is that he gets food, which, good motivation right there.
Yeah.
Loungelot claims that he's busy, but then he leaps into action when he learns that Sir Dolores has been kidnapped. And we then cut to the gloomy castle where we get to see all the various human beings that have been popping out of the chunnel. They're all having the land divided amongst themselves by some kind of an old woman, and I don't know if she was like a reoccurring character or whatnot. What she reminded me of was the old woman from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, or the parody Robin Hood Men in Tights, which is a better movie. Let's be real.
Honestly, it reminds me of. Honestly, she kind of reminds me of Oh gosh, what was that chick's name?
Madam
I don't.
M?
Maybe that, but honestly, this whole scenario reminds me of that one scene from Blazing Saddles.
I
Where,
definitely think it was inspired by that too, because again, Blazing Dragons, Blazing Saddles, and it does remind you of that when basically they reunite all the people and they get them to basically, all of the villains of the old west and that, and literally a bunch of comically ridiculous villains show up. It's kind of like that, and it really is
Yeah.
funny.
Oh man, anybody know where the dragons are at?
Yep. So, Sir Jeffery and the dragons are all tied up. The dancing bears keep trying to tie matches, but Flicker keeps blowing them out. There's a really good fourth wall break when Sir Jeffery asks what they're going to do, and Flicker says, every episode has an action-packed ending, and immediately after that, Princess Flame shows up with a knight, and while they engage the barbarians in an off-screen cloud of dust, which is, again, another really funny way to do it.
Because
Flame
it will have
basically
been very expensive otherwise.
yeah. Again, like Dave the Barbarian, they did a similar joke too. It's like, in an incredible and off-screen battle, Dave and companions destroyed the giant monster.
Yeah.
It very much is like that. Very similar. But while they engage the barbarians, Flame confronts the old witch, and she tells her that her plan wouldn't have worked because the earth is round. And Flicker is glad that the knights are back because he will not have to wear a dress anymore, of course. Lancelot claims that he will follow Dolores to the ends of the earth, as the old one remarks that that would take a long time because the earth is round.
Good luck with that.
Yep. And I love how when the bard shows up, he literally steps in front of the scene, and kind of like their weird projection thing we talked about last week with Biker Mice from Mars. Only here it's kind of intentional, so it does work.
Yeah.
His song basically is that the knights defeated the various barbaric humans and concede Princess Flame's point. And Flame then remarks that being a knight was a lot harder than she thought, and it turns out it's because it's a pain to remove the chainmail when she had to use the ladies' room.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they had to have that kind of joke sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yep. Flicker then remarks about having to wear a dress for the entire episode before backing up into Lounge-a-Lot. Lounge-a-Lot asks him if he has seen The Wandering Minstrel, which to me led to, in my opinion, the best line of the episode. I thought he was just a background character who serves as mere bridges between the scenes. It's just like fourth wall breaks like that. Always kill me in a cartoon. And this is
I actually love those.
Same.
I love a show that takes the fourth wall out back behind the tool shed and beats it within an inch of its life.
Oh, yeah, or just like takes a freaking ballistic machine gun and just like fires at it constantly.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh gosh,
they definitely did that. So what happens?
They took a fucking autocannon from Helldivers 2 and destroyed the fourth wall with that.
That too. Yep. So what happens basically is that Lounge-a-Lot then wants the Wandering Bard to write him a song about Dolores. He then claims that Flicker seems familiar. And we then cut to the dungeon where Queen Griddle is getting a back massage from one of the Vikings, claims that no one does massages like the Swedes, and kind of random but kind of funny ending joke.
Yeah.
And the episode itself
But a good one to end with.
Yeah, definitely a good one. So the episode ends with the bard singing about the events of the episode. And yeah, Blazing Dragons has since become a cult classic in that it's not well known, but it does have a surprisingly large fan base. And you could very much see why, because number one, the style of humor was unlike anything that was on television at the time. Like, you could probably release this 10 years later, 20 years later, or heck, even today. And I think it would have killed in a way that it's kind of like Marty McFly. You don't get it, but your kids are going to love it. That's kind of what it is like.
Oh man, honestly, if it weren't for stuff like Animaniacs and whatnot, this would definitely be up there.
I can definitely see why, because it has a very similar style of humor in a way when you think about it.
Yeah, and similar animation style. Let's not forget.
Sure. Yep.
I can see it pairing among them too.
Yeah.
That too. But yeah, it definitely is a really, really funny show. And what happened, I think, is because, like I said, the humor is so different. And the concept, too, is something that we really have never really seen any show with this concept since then, which is kind of surprising.
I
You know,
mean,
the
Days of
idea of
Barbarian certainly.
Yeah,
Will
yeah. I
did
mean,
that.
with the idea of like
definitely
dragons
will.
living in a kingdom and there's evil humans around, you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
inversion of the usual tale.
Yeah, it's very, very
Yeah.
unique, and it's been
Yeah.
almost like 30 years since this cartoon came out, and
Yeah,
no
we
one has stopped
definitely need.
trying to do it. Yeah.
You definitely need more of that, like a nation of dragons and whatnot. Just like that would be amazing.
And
Oh, definitely, definitely.
unfortunately, we'll probably never see one again.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see about that, but yeah, as we said earlier, the second season of Blazing Dragons, forgive me, was kind of a retool. I know. I knew I was going to make that mistake. I knew I was going to make that mistake when I started the recording of it. I knew somewhere I was going to slip up. I'm going to be honest. I'm amazed it didn't take me the first 3 seconds to say that.
Yeah.
Going to happen.
Yeah,
It was bound to happen. Let's be fair. I didn't expect it either, but it happened.
Yeah. So the second season of Blazing Dragons was a retooling of the show, and we'll discuss that episode in about 2 weeks. But I really enjoyed this episode from the first season, and I really hope that the second season can stack to it. There is one
Same.
thing that kind of knocks against its favor, and that it is 11 minutes, whereas this is a 22-minute episode. So that right away, it has half the runtime, which usually is not a good sign.
Mm.
But we'll have to see if they can actually manage to pull it off, and I certainly hope they do.
Same.
Yep.
Mhm.
So now it is time for the question of the week, which is, what short-lived television shows do you think deserve better? And there's a lot of ones I could give for this answer. I could give Disney Channel stuff, like say like Buzz on Maggie and things like that. They only got like one season, or even shows like say Cutlass. It actually got 6 episodes, despite the fact that its format meant it probably could have gone on forever and ever and ever. But for my real answer, I'm gonna give it to a show I feel that really, really got the short end of the stick, and it's actually going to be, I have 2 options, one of which is Dragoness related, so I kind of want to save it for that episode, but you know what, I'll talk about it now. It's actually the anime Dragon Half. What it is, and we are going to talk about it on this podcast, so stay tuned for that. It won't be for a little while, so when we get to it, it'll hopefully be fresh to you. But basically what Dragon Half is a knight marries a dragoness, and they have a half-human, half-dragon child named
I
Mink.
love that
And-
show.
Yep, she
I don't
goes
wanna
on all
say it
various
now.
adventures in that, and it was a very popular manga in Japan, and it got a Japanese TV series. But I say the word TV series extremely loosely, because the amount of
Yeah.
episodes it got was 2 before it was canceled for reasons
Ah.
that are really unknown. It wasn't an OVA. It actually was meant to be, I believe, a TV series, but it only got 2 episodes. They're each like 26 minutes, and then they just pulled the plug on it. And
Yep.
I have no idea why, because the manga was successful. The anime's humor was, typically, of what Japan would have at that time. And I don't get it. It didn't seem like they would have had a lot of competition at the time. This is around like 1996, same year as this.
Yeah.
So it's
I
very, very
think
weird. And
For,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
for my reasons why the Dragon Half didn't get a lot of good reviews is for one reason. We're
Oh.
talking about a Dragon Half girl who is wearing a 2-piece outfit. She's got a good sized rack on her, and you
Oh,
have
yes.
a lot of young boys who are going to look at her. There's a scene in the clip where in a tournament her top comes off and it almost reveals her chest.
I know a lot of
One
people
boy
hit puberty
and
early.
Boy,
Wait.
I forgot about that.
The manga was basically not meant for kids to watch. It's basically for older adults. Because again, you're gonna see a lot of naked
Seinen
scenes.
sounds
Because again, you
like-
have 3
but-
girls who are trying to go and see Dick Saucer is his name, the superstar that these girls love. And yes, there's a whole lot of like dick jokes, and again, it's like that. So that's why this Dragon Half didn't get a whole lot of good reviews. It's because it's not meant for little kids or kids to watch this show. It's meant for older adults, and it's like rated R. But they're like, oh, let's just make this into a cartoon series. You didn't think a lot of Americans are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you'll see her tits. She's wearing a two-piece bikini here,
Oh,
people."
yeah,
And the
definitely
guy
around the
Took
late
it out of
90s,
movies
that
all the
wasn't a
time,
word.
man.
See the
But like I
problem.
said, the thing that gets me is that even in Japan though, where you think they'd be a little more, tolerant to that kind of stuff, it just went nowhere. It's like they just did the 2 episodes and it just stopped.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
pretty
because it was
sucky.
just a little bit too ahead of its time. XL Saga, which is very much what this show was going for, wouldn't even come out for another 5 years.
Mm. There's also Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still trying to. I missed the title. I'm still trying to understand what you guys are talking about.
So
Uh,
Dragon Half is again, it's a manga that was in
Dragon
Japan.
Half. I know
Yes.
this one.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
said. Dragon half.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically,
It's
a
all right.
knight literally fucks a dragon when he was assigned to go slay this red powerful dragon. One look at her, and he falls in love with her, and they have this girl named May. And it's just a whole other story about finding a human potion to turn May into a human instead of what she is. There's a whole other thing that May and her friends go through. Avengers, dealing with slime people. It's just a whole big thing. I've never read the manga, but I've seen this Dragon Half episode so many flipping times. I know what it's about. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's an
Never read
80s
the
and
manga,
90s
never
anime
read it.
too,
Action, but
Oh,
which
yeah.
yeah.
And like, there's actually this did get
It
translated
did get
into
an English dub. But
yeah,
this English dub was
absolutely.
like years afterwards. Like we're talking years and years
Yeah,
afterwards. Like
it
2000, I
was
think it came out.
it
Oh,
was
dang.
published by Seven Seas in America, and like they're well known for letting their manga go out of print.
Oh boy.
Ouch, ouch. But yeah, that's gonna be my pick, and we'll talk more about Dragon Half when we get to the episode, which won't be for a long, long time. So I figured I might as well
Unfortunately.
just drop it in here. But yeah, the reason I'm picking that is again because of the fact that I only got 2 episodes, and it really, really could have had a lot more. And I feel like it just feels like it was cut short, and it was kind of a shame. I understand why after what Jordan said about it, which I completely forgot about for some reason. But yeah, that's gonna be my pick for it. It's gonna be Dragon Half. So, Angron, what would you have to say is a short-lived television show that you thought could have done better?
Oh boy, there's a lot. Like I could easily again gush for the Wuzzles because god damn it, Hoppo needs more love. A lot of the characters need more love. Tycoon, they really had a good setup with Tycoon, I'll be honest. Even with Moosel's voice actor not really being around anymore and whatnot. But oh man, I could also talk about freaking Symbiotic Titan, a short-lived series that managed to complete its season. Woo! Excuse me.
Bless you.
I
It's
could
okay,
also
sorry.
talk about
It's okay.
Megas XLR, which I have yet to complete the final episode, which, yeah, they really built it up for... They built up both Symbiotic Titan and Megas XLR for another season at most, and it went nowhere, unfortunately.
And Mega
Yeah,
XLR,
very
that
unfortunate.
unfortunately got screwed by tax rebate, aka
Yep.
the Dave Zlav method. And what that means is that now Mega XLR could not be screened again, nor can it be ever remade because of that. So thanks a lot for that, Cartoon Network.
Oh, thank goodness for pirating your har fiddle-dee-dee. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I would say all three of those, but I'm also kind of gonna bring up a short-lived Netflix anime called Cannon Busters. It's basically
I remember
Netflix's answer to Cowboy Bebop with its own like fantasy sort of setting tacked onto it, which I don't know if they've ever made another season or not. I'd have to fact check, but as of right
It
now,
did not.
yep, it did not. But yeah, I really liked the series. I know it's not the most popular, but I honestly kind of enjoyed the premise a little bit. It had a lot of potential. Like the main character is basically a Spike, except he's technically immortal. Don't really know how that works entirely,
Interesting.
but There's a robot princess who is just who's pretty adorable. There's a cute little chibi robot who is basically just along for the ride and is just like, yeah, though not entirely. And there's also this freaking red-faced drunken samurai who's part of a group of samurai who's super powerful, and he's just along because he wants to booze. And honestly, this show is pretty amazing. I'd have to watch it again to like get a better idea of whether or not it's actually worth the rewatch. But I really do. I really did enjoy it the first time watching it. It had a very good setup, and I do kind of want to see more of it.
It's an anime made by an American who lives in Japan. It's based on his own comic. It's actually closer to Trigun, I'd say. It was a very interesting series, and Netflix was just, well, because this is late 2010s, early 2020s, Netflix, they were like, oh, hey, that was a great first season that was received pretty well, so let's cancel it.
Oh, God. That honestly checks out. There was a lot of stuff that was cut early.
Yeah.
Like Seis Manos as well.
Yeah.
It was.
I could see
Yeah, it was definitely. It definitely had a lot of passion behind it for the most part, but man, did I not really enjoy that as much as Cannon Busters.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty good choice right there. And like you said, with Netflix, they definitely have a way of cutting stuff out, like that. Things that, have potential, they never reach their full potential because of their insane thing to try and get whatever they need right then and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good pick right there. Stryker, what would you have to pick for a cartoon that would, or series that was short-lived and you thought deserved better?
Well, I was thinking about something else, but now that but since we were doing this, I believe Napoleon Dynamite actually.
Huh.
Interesting.
It's not. Huh,
There
that
was
got a
an
cartoon?
animated sitcom back in like I think it was the early 2010s. I'm gonna have to check that real quick, but like
I got you covered. Keep talking.
all right, so there was only 6 episodes of this series, unfortunately, and Fox canceled it after a few episodes because no one watched it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
this
was a
came out
cartoon
in
made
like
10 years after the movie, so everyone
Yeah.
was
That right
moved
alone
out.
is a tough thing.
yeah, it's like 2012. Dang.
And like I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Animation does not suit Napoleon Dynamite, unfortunately, but I did enjoy the show.
Yeah, that certainly checks out.
Like the first episode alone was pretty good. Like it was just Napoleon having trouble with acne.
I see.
Oh man, why do I have all these freaking things on my face?
Oh, it was because his fucking Uncle Rico is now a regular character on the show. He lives with them
Oh.
now.
Okay.
And he literally fucking bought gas station chicken
Yeah.
and literally throws it at his face, which the grease causes him to develop zits.
Oh
That
boy,
checks out.
that's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's not great. But please tell me Rex Kwando is a character in this series.
I think he is. I can't confirm because I only watched it once. But I think he is a character, not played by the same actor, of course, but he is still in the. I believe he's still in the show.
Diedrich Bader did a good job with him. Same with Tank and Batman.
Yeah,
Probably
he was
didn't
on the
have
better
it.
parts of the movie.
They probably didn't have the budget for all the actors from the movie because they did get most of the actors back.
Yeah, that
Actually,
makes sense.
Rex was played by the original character.
Yeah.
Oh, he was?
Nice,
Dang.
nice.
Okay then.
Diedrich Bader.
That's awesome.
Always great when they go the extra mile to get the original cast.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
why I like
especially-
series like freaking Scott Pilgrim Takes Off for doing that sort of thing, like getting the
yeah.
original cast or as much of them as they can, and it just works.
I
definitely
actually
could see
definitely
why.
apprecited that.
Yeah.
I definitely could see why. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good choice.
It's
But
also
like
why
said-
I kind of enjoy Mighty Ducks. Like nobody really saw it to my knowledge, but it's clearly got a cult following for a reason, and I very much enjoy it. Especially since it's a '90s gem for me.
Mark off another square on the bingo card.
I definitely could see
Oh
that.
boy.
Yep, I definitely could see that. So, yeah, it's a very good choice. I feel like a lot of reasons why a lot of these shows don't last long is because they are parent companies, except they expect them to be monster hits right out of the gate. Like with stuff like the
Right out of the
Napoleon
womb.
Dynamite series, what it probably was is Fox was hoping it would be like Family Guy or Simpsons right away, and when it wasn't,
Or
they got tired
Nickelodeon
of
with
it.
SpongeBob.
That too,
mean-
Nickelodeon has done that quite a few times, most
Yeah.
notably
Oh,
with
yeah.
Harvey Beaks.
You either
Yeah,
die a hero.
If
That too.
it's not SpongeBob levels of popularity, it's not gonna last past 3 seasons. They just
And of
cancel it
course,
after that.
or one season even.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because like what was the what was it? Welcome to the Wayne or something?
Yeah, like that.
Oh boy.
Uh,
That will probably be interesting.
Yep, I can definitely see that. But no, that's a good choice. Math, what would you have to pick?
I've discussed this show several times before in this podcast. It is the 2011 version of Thundercats.
Oh yeah, that
Good
one.
choice,
That
good
was
choice.
snubbed.
Speaking of
That
shows
was-
that got done dirty by their network,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
2011 Thundercats was
Definitely.
taken from us too soon.
Yeah, it
Too
was
soon.
Definitely.
robbed.
it ended much like half the shows that we've already discussed. It ended on a bloody cliffhanger.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, freaking cliffhanger, man.
Ah.
Yeah, that's the
It's not-
worst way to end for your show to get canceled, basically. In a
Yeah, you
cliffhanger.
get a big setup, and you have such interesting aspects. Different species, a cool mum ra, freaking everything.
They
And
they
then you just
completely they
shack-
had a good thing and they didn't go through with it.
Yeah, they did not follow through at all. Yeah,
It still blows my mind that the justification was, oh well, toys aren't selling well. This is 2011. We had
Bitch.
moved past that with cartoons.
bitch,
I know.
we
It's
got
like
sorry, we got frickin' my sister still owns Wily Cat with the frickin' flute and the frickin' hoverboard. Don't you tell me that's always doesn't sell well.
yeah.
I honestly think it's just a case
Oh,
of the show was more expensive than I thought, and
Yeah, and there wasn't
Oh.
enough toy sales, so
Double
this is also the
boo.
era where Cartoon Network was doing real bad because they were recovering from their live action era.
ouch.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's
that
okay.
right.
too.
Oh,
Okay,
Well,
okay.
time to come out.
Hot take here. Hate why most of them exist. But there are some gems that if they were on a different network, they absolutely would have worked.
You just answered
Unnatural
the
History.
question there.
What?
They had to be on a different network. It does
Mhm.
not work on Cartoon
No, of course not.
Network.
I mean,
no, it does not.
I mean, granted, live action movies based off cartoons like the Ben 10 movies were pretty cool, but
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a
stuff like-
different thing though.
like Unnatural History, Tower Prep, freaking
I didn't watch
frickin'
any of that stuff, so
frickin'
I
other
can't
stu-
really
so
can't really
frickin'
say.
so
I'm gonna-
freaking other siders, Survive This, Destroy Build Destroy, freaking dude, what would happen? Those all needed to be on
remember any of these
CNW.
shows, so yeah.
I've heard that people got really beat at like the dark era, and no one wants to remember them.
You can kind of
Yeah.
see why in a
I
way.
remember them. They weren't bad, but yeah, they definitely need to be on CW
Or
at
something
best.
else, yeah, something that isn't that, yeah. But no, that's
And-
a really good choice right there. I can
And
definitely see
unfortunately,
why.
with Thundercats 2011, we're never going to get a completion of it because we've already had another new show pop up.
King Roar. No.
Terrible,
Well,
terrible.
okay. Another devil's advocate on that. Thundercats Roar isn't as bad as people say it is. It's definitely leaning towards the Teen Titans Go thing, and the nods towards the past freaking Ronkin Bass stuff are pretty impressive. I will say that.
Yeah, like
But yeah, it
on
really
its
did.
own, in a vacuum, the show wasn't terrible. The issue is this is following 2011 and a show that Cartoon Network went out of its way to make sure it destroyed. So people were a little bit bitter.
What? They did
Yeah, I
that?
could see why.
Like they did the home on the range. What the fuck?
No, I don't. In that way, I can kind of understand.
Like, I get why, but you did a good thing. You got frickin' Patrick Sates and frickin' some other people, and you're just here frickin' toppling it like it's nothing, bruh, man.
Shame. Like that.
It is
yeah.
massive shame. You bring
Yeah.
shame to dishonor on your whole family.
Yeah,
Are you
dishonor
right?
on you, dishonor on your cow, especially the
What
cow.
a
Wait.
shame. What an absolute shame. But yeah, no,
Oh
that's
man.
yep. That definitely is a very good choice right there. Yep. So let's see, Jordan, what would you have to pick for a series that you liked that was very short lived and you thought could do better?
Oh Lord, I think my only number one would agree with you is Dragon Half. I mean, you had it's a good story about three girls who want to help May try to find this human potion and become a human so she can fall in love with the main idiot who's dumb as a bag of bricks. Is
Oh,
Dragon
God.
Half. I
Welcome
would,
to
I was
Dragon
when I was
Half.
younger, I
Why?
tried to find the book, like the mangas. I'm like, okay, where can I find this? But I'm like, okay, the Black Network will not help me with this, so I will never
Black-
find the rest of how this goes.
Yeah, I can kind of see why. You know that like I think we've said everything that needs to be said with it, but yeah, it definitely like you said, it definitely does make sense. So, Shark, what would you
Absolutely.
have to say is you're right. What your favorite show, or rather a show you thought deserved a lot better that that lasted a very short time?
Well, everybody knows this one. It's a very popular story, and that's gonna be Invader Sim.
Oh.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
like
Okay.
everybody knows, season 2 was almost complete. There was the scripts, there was voice acting, but Nickelodeon just said, nope, the show isn't gonna work. You're only gonna make 5 episodes and the Christmas special.
What a
Dang.
shame.
And as you can see, it became very popular to the point that they made a movie. So at the very
Yep.
least, Nickelodeon probably regrets doing that, but it's too
That-
late now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Technically, that shouldn't count because it got closure in the end, but I can see why you would put that.
Yeah, but kind of forced it to close, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of why I didn't want to put Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt on there, because it got snubbed, but it at least has news that it's getting a continuation later. Unlike Megas, unlike possibly Symbiotic Titan, and unlike Wuzzles, technically.
And again, the show got basically canceled mid-season because, like I said, the episodes were already written. Some of them were already with voice acting, but still they didn't let them finish it. So it does feel like Invader Sim could have done more than it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that is a very, like I say, it's an extremely good choice right there, because that is probably a well-known one, but it's at least one that, like I say, everyone can agree on was a show that deserved way better. And I feel like now Nickelodeon would love nothing more than to greenlight a revival, because pretty much nostalgia is half the stuff they have nowadays, and the other half is just buying random franchises like the Smurfs and Alvin and the Chipmunks and Garfield and just throwing it against the wall to see what sticks.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like now if they could go back in time and greenlight like a second season, I feel like they probably would. But in a way, it kind of also improves Zim because it gives it that whole underground cult sensation thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's definitely what I'm gonna pick for that one.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
Yep, I can definitely see why you're gonna pick that one.
And
So-
Lucky.
Yep, Lucky. What
Don't
would you
have
to
one.
say? You don't have
Darn.
like one at all that a show
Like-
that you liked, but it didn't
No,
last that
everything
long?
I've watched pretty much had a conclusion, or I didn't really care enough to finish.
Huh.
Not even Pokemon Chronicles? Did that get a conclusion?
No, it's 4K Zero. I don't follow the 4K Zero.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. So, now it is time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale, where we rank our Dragoness. And of course, we're going to rank Princess Flame this time. And judging from how she was in season 1, because season 2 did give her a different design in that, judging both from that and her personality, the way she basically acts, the way she talks, everything, I might have to give her a perfect score of 10 out of 10 because she was the focus of the episode. She got a lot of good screen time. Her design was good. Her voice was good. I really liked her characterization. She was kind of the straight man / straight woman of the whole ongoings
dragon.
around her. But she still, that's a good point too, straight dragoness. But she still had a lot of really funny moments in a way. And it's just something about her that clicks so well. Her design is really, really good. I like the hair. I like the dress. I like pretty much, everything about her. The personality is good. It's, it's her being positive, but not being overly forceful and, like things like that. I liked that. I am actually going to give her, like I said, a perfect score, 10 out of 10, because I cannot think of any single flaw with her because it's not even like with screen time because she was the focus of this episode. So, Angron, what would you have to give her?
I'm torn because on the one hand, I do absolutely love her character in this. She's smart. She very much wants to do. She very much wants to be more inclusive, more different than the others. Like it's basically just her wanting to stand out from pretty much everyone else, but in a way that doesn't make her feel stereotypical or forced in the slightest. That being said, I don't know if I should give her a perfect 10 based on her design because there's always a chance season 2 could muck that up, and there's the game again, which we'll get to later, but I kind of prefer the design of that one over this. That being said, I think I'm going to be generous and give her a perfect score as well because, yeah, she very much has a pretty spot-on character in this, and she does a lot more than what you would think, more or less.
So, yeah, that's a really good score. So, 7 out of 10. I can definitely get to see why.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10? Wow, perfect score. Okay, I said, sorry, I misheard you. Sorry.
Oh, good.
I know. So, yeah, rather perfect score. Wow, I definitely can see that. It's going to be interesting seeing what the season 2 version of her is going to get, and I do have them separate because, again, separate design.
Yeah.
But, yeah, wow, 2 perfect scores. Can we keep the thing going? Stryker, what would you have to give her?
I might have to keep it going. 10 out of 10. I really liked her characterization, writing.
Yeah.
It just fit perfectly with the episode as well as the theming of it, so it just worked well. And I even loved like the sort of like I don't know, it worked. I liked it a lot.
Definitely. It is so like I say, surprising that she's gotten so many good things so far. So let's go with Math. What would you have to give her?
All right, folks, got to break the chain.
All right,
boy.
go ahead.
So, love her personality. Her being the straight woman, straight dragoness, however you want to phrase it, was great. I always love those kind of characters. Voice acting was great. Everything about her from the character side was great. The only thing I didn't like, and this is absolutely a personal thing. I'm not saying that, oh, this is universal, this is standard. This is me. I do not like the way that their snouts are designed.
I can see
Something
that.
about it, the fact that their snouts are longer than what they should be based on how their heads look is a bit off to me, and it just doesn't quite work for me and throws me off every time I see them. That's why she's getting a 9 rather than a 10.
It's understandable.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's a unique art style.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could get used to it. Just in this moment, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, that's why I prefer Flame's design in the game, which we'll cover later, more than the show.
Yeah.
It's not bad, and it certainly could look a lot worse, but yeah, it kind of does feel a little off.
Yeah. So I definitely could see that. So the chain is broken, but it's still a high score regardless. So Jordan, what would you give Princess Flame?
I'm gonna give her 10 out of 10. I love her personality as being the second female besides her mother. Want to do something more than just like, I'm tired of being this damsel in distress princess thing. I'm gonna try and be a knight and proving herself to her father and the rest of the knights. Like, I am gonna do better than what you guys could do.
Fuck
And she
all
does.
y'all, I'm gonna be a knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she shows it off and she's like, okay, I get it. This is more of a man's job. I get it. But I proved my point that I can
Yeah.
do more than what a princess can do than just, being, oh, I'm going to be damsel in distress. Please. So I like how she is. I'm giving her 10 out of 10 for my point.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's basically just like, it's not my thing, but damn it, I did it better than all of y'all.
hmm
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And again, that's part of the appeal for her in a way. So Matt, Shark rather, what would you give her?
I think I'm gonna go in the almost perfect club because I do like a lot about her. The design, the personality. I like how she's like competent, but not too overly competent because she's doing the bare minimum. Like the other knights are so useless that just doing the minimum effort is enough to outclass them. And yeah, I like the voice, I like the clothes. The only problem is kind of the thing Jordan said, funnily enough. The whole princess that thinks that princess should be more than just that they have to take action. It's been done. It's something I've seen a lot, so that's kind of what lowers it a bit.
I see. So
I mean, I assume it's not her entire personality in this series, but the whole episode is kind of the main theme, and it's been done. It's been done. But other than that, nope, no other complaints. She's a 9 out of 10 for me.
That's a good score too. And Evie, what would you give her?
7 out of 10.
Sorry?
7 out of
7
10.
out of 10.
7, 7. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Any particular reason or?
Nah, she just looks nice.
All right. Well, that's okay. So, if you have any questions, or if you want to suggest other types of people that the other knights could have found in the channel, you can email us at fiorydiscourse@outlook.com or visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fiorydiscourse. Next time, we'll be continuing with our journey into 1996 cartoons as we discuss the Mask episode, They Came From Within. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have Rob Paulson basically doing Jim Carrey, yet also doing his own spin on it, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep. And yeah, it's a classic show. And we'll talk about that next time. But for now, thank you so much for watching and take care.
Later.
Later.
Adios.
Peace out.
Bye.